start with introduce and welcome you by Professor Chantana Wankeo. She will tell about the background and some information. So, Professor Chantana, the floor is you.
Good morning, our Dean of Political Science, Dr. Pragon Sri Prakop, and our distinguished participants, friends and guests. I'm very happy today that my anxiety ends here because all the principal investigator, researcher, and our distinguished guests have arrived. And then this will be the final event in a way that cheer up, that we go through a very interesting 3 days because there will be new discoveries. But before I tell you about creating Cyberspace Asia, I would like to invite Professor Berit Bleezeman de Guevara. I've been practicing this name for the past couple of days. I think I'm getting better. To tell us about the overview of creating Cyberspace International, and then after that I will tell you about the highlights of the Asia projects. Can I invite Dr. Ben?
Hello, good morning, everyone. It's so lovely to finally see so many of you in person. I know some people, I've known some people before this event already in person, but it's really great to finally get to meet all the project teams and also our distinguished guests. My name is Berit Bleezeman de Guevara. I'm a professor of international politics at Aberystwyth University and also the principal investigator of this research network, which, as Chantana has already said, is bigger than Asia, but Asia is one very important region to us. Now, Aberystwyth University, where I work, if you've studied international relations, then you will have seen in textbooks that it's always claimed to be this birthplace of the discipline, right? The discipline of international relations was supposedly born in Aberystwyth with the first professorial chair founded there in 1919 after the First World War, with the aim to contribute to transcending war. Now, we are over 100 years old, and if you look around the world, we haven't quite succeeded in transcending war yet. And I think one of the main reasons why we haven't done so as a community of humans is that we focus very much on states. And I think what our research network shows is that with a focus on people, we can really see how solidarity and how peace and how protection can work. So what is the Creating Safer Space network? Can you give me this next? Yeah, thank you. So the Creating Safer Space Network is an international research network on unarmed civilian protection and community self-protection. We got £2 million from basically the British government, but through British funders, to create a network of researchers, communities, and stakeholders who are involved in unarmed civilian protection and community self-protection, to create kind of impactful ways of engaging with communities, but above all also to do research on this field, which is quite under-acknowledged in the study of peace and conflict. So these are a little bit the statistics. We have actually financed, so this is the final event for Asia, so we're coming to an end. We have financed 26 projects across different countries in the Global South. So we are working in 11 countries in total. In Latin America, on the Mexico and US border, and mainly in Colombia, there are lots of projects. We have projects in Nigeria, Cameroon, Kenya and South Sudan in Africa. There's a project in Palestine in the Middle East, and then there are projects in Myanmar, in Thailand, in the Philippines, and in Indonesia. And these projects in Asia are the projects that we will hear about over the next 3 days and that we want to discuss. So we've spent over £920,000 on these projects, and these final events are really kind of exciting for me, because I feel over the last 4 years I've mainly been together with Shantana and together with Rachel here, who are part of the co-investigators. We've mainly been administrating the network, and it's now finally good to see that something has actually happened in terms of content as well, and to learn what we have learned about unarmed civilian protection. So as you can see, if you can go back, the projects, most of the projects, actually the majority, are led by organizations or partners in the Global South, or even where they are led by partners in the UK. These projects have partners in the countries where we are working, so it was very important for this project to not do research on countries, but research with countries and communities. So to really kind of showcase what unarmed civilian protection and community self-protection means to people from the bottom up. And later on, Shantana will talk a bit about how the day works, and we will see the exhibition with some contribution also from our Asia projects. A lot of projects use creative methods, participatory methods, and so on to work with communities, because we felt that was most in the spirit of what community self-protection and unarmed protection actually is. Delcy was sitting over there, and I were at an event at the UN with UN people in New York before the pandemic, and we tried to talk to diplomats at the UN about UCP and why they should support that more. And one of these diplomats, at the end of the 1.5 days, we talked at them and told them how amazing, what amazing things people do, said, "Ooh, what I've learned today was like, states don't build peace, but people do." So it's very much people-focused what we've done. So what has happened in these last 4 years? The project started on 1st April 2020, just after the UK had gone into a lockdown because of the pandemic. So for the first year we didn't do very much. We didn't even manage to get our contract signed between our partners because everybody was at home. It was very difficult. The pandemic has made free movement in many countries very difficult. In some bespoke situations that might have been for the better. Rachel and I were lucky to have the similar event 3 weeks ago in Nairobi with the Africa projects, and we were told that, for example, the poaching of wild animals went down during the pandemic because it was not so easy to go out, so it was very visible when people were out with a car and trying to kill wild animals. But in many countries, because accompaniers found it hard to move, the human rights situation really deteriorated and violence went up. For our network, we had planned visits between different partner countries and regions for the first year. Those could never happen because nobody was able to travel. Then we went into 2021 and we thought, life's looking up, everybody knew how to work with Zoom and we can finally start doing things. And then the UK government cut 2/3 of our funding and decided they wouldn't want to spend so much on official development assistance, which is where our funding came from. That lasted until end of 2021, and we had to rejig what we originally had in mind, which was a funding competition, and work with our partners to do small projects. So some of the projects that we'll present in the next 2 days are projects that are from this phase when we try to work with our partners to make the most of the funding that was left. Then we got the money back. Every time there is a lot of administrative burden to kind of come up with a new budget and a new plan, but then finally we were able to run a funding competition. So some other projects that we'll be presenting were successful in this funding competition, where we got a lot of proposals, and there were panels that chose the ones we found most relevant and well thought through. more things happened. I mean, here in Asia, you know, there was the military coup in Myanmar in 2021, which made it really difficult for projects that wanted to work on Myanmar to get started, and we had to wait a bit and kind of delay the start to see what the situation would actually look like and what would be safe to do and not safe to do. But there were also kind of in this time more positive notes. In Colombia, for example, where we have 10 projects have an element on Colombia, there's a new president who claims he's working towards a total peace, so really negotiating with all armed groups in the country, paramilitaries, guerrilla, and criminal armed groups, to find peace negotiations with all of them. I don't think he will manage to do all of that, but at least having the will to talk to everybody and try to find a solution is already a big step forward. And obviously we also saw war returning to Europe in that time, so with the Ukraine war, and when we had a meeting with the UCP community of practitioners in Geneva in October, where some people in the room were also present. That was just a few days after the war in Gaza had started, and we have one project in Palestine that, although it is not in Gaza, it is in the West Bank, so another part of Palestine is really very much affected by that. So when you work over such a long period of time, and obviously on conflict, things happen. But I'm very pleased to say that a lot of positive things have come out of the projects. So although we see that the number, so when we first applied for the funding in 2019, I looked up the number of forcibly displaced people across the world according to the UN Refugee Agency, and it was 64 million. I've just looked it up 2 weeks ago again, and it's now over 108 million people forcibly displaced by violent conflict. So there's really a huge need, not just to think about armed peacekeeping and so on, but all sorts of forms of how we can think about keeping people safe and keeping people in their homes and work against displacement. So what our projects, I think, have shown, and one reason why we are meeting here is to see what happens in the projects, what have you found in your particular regions and in your particular cases, but also what is coming out when we look across the project. So we will do a little bit of kind of reflection on that together as well. Are there themes coming out of the projects when we look across them? What we can already see is from the Africa meeting, for example, civilians are not just victims, right? That comes out of all the projects. They can be protectors in their own right, and they can have agency in the midst of violence and displacement. And a lot of communities are very creative in finding their own ways of protection. In some cases we have kind of external accompaniers, but in many other cases, so basically we find unarmed civilian protection everywhere in some shape or form, because it is just sometimes a necessity for people to think about how they can keep themselves safe within their particular context. We see that there's a lot of solidarity going on across the world as well, from community to community, which is great to see. And we can see that relationships are really at the bottom of all of this. Not just, like, as I said, not just relationships between states, but between people, right, based on the realization that there's some sort of shared humanity. So I guess what we've seen through this project is, so we've really built on the little that was known about community self-protection before, and we've shown that it exists really everywhere across the world, and that people do feel safer when they organize, and that there's also a way sometimes, not in all situations, it really depends on the context, but to break through cycles of violence by creating those safer spaces. I'll stop here. We'll have plenty of time. Maybe if you give me the next slide. We do have a website which has information about all the projects, and it also has one button which is about publications, and the more people now publish the findings of the project, the more publications we will have under that tab there. There are some resources as well, and there's a newsletter, so if you want to be informed, it's only once a month, it will not fill up your inbox, but if you want to keep informed about what comes out, what the new publications are, or other events that projects are offering, then I would say sign up for the newsletter that will tell you what we're doing. So I hope that this, although we say it's the final research forum exhibition for Asia, I hope this will not be the final point of people collaborating. So I hope you will get to know a lot of people across these 3 days, and that we can find ways of working together also in future. So while our project comes to an end and the funding comes to an end, it doesn't mean it has to be an end of collaboration. So that would be my hope for these 3 days, that we find some way forward and some kind of idea for a legacy of this network in this region here. So yeah, I really look forward to this, and I'm really happy that everybody made it and that we can work together. Thank you so much.
Thank you. That is a very succinct overview and insight of how we worked. Now I will give you highlights of the projects in Asia. Creating Safer Space in Asia, we partner with Nonviolent Peace Force, Philippines, and the consortium of Bangsamoro Civil Society in Mindanao. Partners share their experiences with the network and also be part of capacity building, and also lead some of the research projects. In Asia, we have supported 8 research projects. Initially, the focus was on Myanmar and the Philippines, but once we opened a call for applications, then the area of focus expanded, covering Myanmar, Thailand, Indonesia, and then we have a cross-regional study, comparative studies, including Myanmar, South Sudan, Colombia, Nigeria, and the Philippines. So quite interesting that a mix of area of studies. Altogether, there are 31, if I'm not miscounted, people in the research teams from 8 projects, including principal investigators, co-investigators, and researchers. The context in which the research is carried out is ranging from low-intensity conflict like Thailand to an open battle in Myanmar, and to the ongoing peace processes in the Philippines, covering the area also people caught between the border of Thailand and Myanmar. We also include the communal conflicts in Papua. In general, the projects cover vulnerabilities of people from direct and physical violence as much as the structural violence that people faced in their everyday life. The people are the subject of the research are in the situation of protracted conflicts, political polarization and crisis, environmental development policy disputes, climate change, to subnational conflicts with ethnic and religious division. The research addressed key issues of local practices of protection. It also discovered the language of UCP, or unarmed civilian protection, in local interpretation. It's a touch on protection strategies, and it aimed to provide guidelines and norm setting of civilian protection. Some projects engage in capacity building, analysis of opportunities and challenges with specific issues, like gender sensitivity. Of 31 people in the research team come from 16 institutions, from university, people's organization, and non-governmental organizations. I'd like to mention those institutions. Regional Center for Social Science and Development, Chiang Mai University, London School of Economics and Political Science, University of Winchester, University of Greenwich, the Center for Conflict Studies and Cultural Diversity, Prince of Songkhla University in Pattani, Thailand, Center for Research and Popular Education, Colombia, Center for Agrarian Reform and Rural Development, Philippines, Deep South Social Media in Pattani, Southern Thailand, Dual Group People's Organization in the Southern Thailand, Knowledge Hub Myanmar, Religion for Peace Myanmar, Embrace Dialogue, Organization for Non-Violence and Development, South Sudan, Center for Arctic and Indian Ocean Studies, Strategic Non-Violence Working Group, based in Bangkok. Last but not least, the Faculty of Political Science, Chulalongkorn University. I need to mention this because we are grateful for their participation, and I think we have covered quite diverse institutions that touching on unarmed civilian protections. Over the past 2 years, Network Plus Asia met online 5 times. We only got a glimpse of how the project being carried out. We heard how difficult it was to conduct research under violent conflict and insecurity atmosphere, especially when researchers are outsiders. So each project has a unique methodology how to work with local people through capacity building. In some sense that have to include trust building. I have to invent a different form of how people can express their opinion, their feeling. You see it from the exhibition today, this afternoon. In the next 2 days, we will learn more inside of each project. And I hope that the highlights stir up a little bit of your curiosity. I hope you will enjoy, at least enjoy. Further than that, we will share our experience in the next 3 days. Thank you very much. And now I got an honor to introduce our Dean, Associate Professor of Public Administration, to give an opening remarks. Dr. Pakorn is an expert in public administration. He published these 3 books, to name a few: 3 Paradigms in Public Administration, Concept, Theories, and Practice, Public Sector Reform, New Public Management Paradigm in New Zealand, and Validity and Reliability in Qualitative Research. May I have the honor of the Dean to give an opening remark. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Professor Shantana. Okay, she's also my teacher. Thank you so much. Don't want to hear that, right? Okay, here is my opening remarks. Welcome everyone. My name is Pakorn. I'm the Dean of the Faculty. Professor Barrett Bizaman de Guerrera, hopefully I pronounce your name right. Professor Rachel Julian, principal investigator and co-investigators, panelists, and distinguished participants. Good morning and welcome to Bangkok and welcome to the vicinity of Chulalongkorn University. I hope you like it. It is my honor and privilege to welcome you all to this pivotal research forum on the crucial topics of creating safer spaces and strengthening unarmed civilian protection. About 4 years ago, the Faculty of Political Science, Chulalongkorn University, at that time I wasn't a dean yet, agreed to collaborate with the Network Plus on creating safer space to enhance research capacity in the field under study in this region. As much as nonviolence has been practiced and not new to this region, Addressing unarmed civilian protection has expanded the horizon of knowledge and contributed to a greater effectiveness and credibility of nonviolence. The Faculty of Political Science is proud to be part of this network plus to pronounce unarmed civilian protections as a norm in conflict management in this region. Throughout history, the protection of civilians and the creation of safe spaces have remained significant challenges in the face of conflict, violence, and political unrest. Our responsibilities as academics, researchers, and policymakers is not only to review these challenges, but also to propose innovative approaches and solutions that can be implemented in the real world. Actually, the works of peace and conflict resolution, there are some of the significant and important work in our faculty. A lot of staff in our faculty has been working on it, including Ajahn Surishai Wankeo, sitting over there. Our faculty has just been awarded the name of Nelson Mandela Center by the Nelson Mandela Foundation. We're going to name it Nelson Mandela Center for, I believe there are 3 levels, right? Conflict resolutions, atrocity preventions, and human security. So we have been awarded that name and come with the funds by Chulalongkorn University. And we also have been supported the name by Nelson Mandela Foundation and also from the African Embassy. And I think the funding that Chula would support us under the Second Century Fund will be approximately 6 million baht. So we'll start that center pretty soon because it has been already awarded. So you can see that a lot of works on peace and conflict studies is located at Faculty of Political Science, Chulalongkorn University. Today, as principal investigator, researchers, partners, organizations, as well as new friends gather on site for the first time to explore the complexities of civilian protections and safety. We are affirming our dedication to effecting positive change. The research presented here today holds the potential to shape the future civilian protection efforts. By fostering thoughtful dialogue and exchange of ideas, we aim to elevate the discourse surrounding unarmed civilian protection and establish new pathways for progress. Today might be the end of the project in Asia, but I trust it will be the beginning of more possibilities. I hope we will engage in the meaningful conversations to challenge prevailing assumptions and to cultivate ideas that have the power to transform lives. Together, let us seize this opportunity to enhance our collective understandings and drive positive change in the realms of unarmed civilian protection. Last but not least, on behalf of the Network Plus Asia, I want to express our sincere gratitude and appreciation to our funders, the Global Challenge Research Fund, the Arts and Humanity Research Council of the United Kingdom Research Innovation, our collaborators, Davis Witt University, and our partner organizations. Nonviolent, Peaceful, and the Consortium of Bangamolo Civil Society. Thank you for your participation. I eagerly anticipate the fruitful discussion that lie ahead of today and tomorrow. Thank you so much. ขอบคุณครับ Cross the day after tomorrow.
May I ask the dean stay on the stage? We will have the group photo for everyone. I would like to invite everyone to come, and then we have the group photo. Okay, please come to join. Pick a little.
To remember by and to prove to our funders.
Side, please. Otherwise, you sit all the time.
a lot of meetings, you know. Okay, yes. Okay, yeah, thank you so much. That's always a lot. Okay.
Okay, thank you everyone. So,เดี๋ยวขึ้นไปพร้อมกันเลยใช่ไหมคะตรงนี้เลยค่ะ
This first 2 days on research and synthesis will be facilitated by the two Bert and also Rachel. So the floor is yours. And then
Just to briefly explain the process, we now have a series of presentations by the different projects. So every project has an hour in total to present. We have time to ask questions, to discuss. But what we would also like to do in the last, 10 minutes or so of every hour that we have for the project is do a little reflection, to really think a little bit, maybe first by ourselves, what has caught my attention and what I just heard. So what did I find particularly interesting, or what did I find surprising, to really kind of listen and reflect on that. And then, since we are sitting so nicely in groups already, maybe take a few minutes to just then, as we go along, to discuss, are there already some key learnings coming out of this? Is there some themes across this? All of this we just write down on some sticky notes, and we have some flip charts here where we can put them, so that by tomorrow afternoon, when we want to do a little reflection, we remember what we were thinking about the very first presentation, because by that time we will have heard 8 presentations, so it makes sense to write our thoughts down and just record them somewhere on the flip chart so we remember what was going on, right? And then in the afternoon of tomorrow we have a bit of time to discuss what are the themes, what are the new questions, perhaps what are limits and problems and obstacles, so all of the things that we have discussed after each presentation. So that's the idea of the hour we have for everyone. Do you want to do the first?
Okay, so without any further ado, we'd really like to give the floor to you. And the very first project that we are presenting on is the one on UCP in southern Thailand, developing civilian protection guidelines for violence-prone communities. So please introduce yourselves and welcome. Thank you.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Farida Panjor, and my colleague Anchana Himina. I am a researcher of this project. It's called Unarmed Civilian Protection in Southern Thailand, developing civilian protection guidelines for violence-prone communities. Actually, we have 3 members and 2 consultants for this project, me and Mrs. Anchana, and also Dr. Yasmin Satta. She's not here. She is a lecturer at Faculty of Political Science, Prince of Songkhla University, and me from Institute for Peace Study, and Anchana from the Doi Chai Group. This project started last year in February to around September. But unfortunately, because some problem, we have to postpone our project for 2 or 3 months. But right now we have some finding and some recommendations from the people at the community to, I think, to buildings some mechanisms on UCP in their own way. I would like to introduce our colleagues, Ms. Anshana, to talk about our project aims and also the introductions of our situations in southern Thailand before we go to the research finding and recommendations of the UCP from our community.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Anshana Himina. You can call me Mumtaz, it's easier. I'm a director of the Jai Group based in Pattani. As I start meeting with Berit and Berit University in Bangkok since 2019, that's the first time I know about the unarmed civilian protection mechanism. And then we very interesting because of we would like to shape the conflict resolution from weapon to non-violent. And then we fortunately, we have fund from CCS, and then we have research with CSCD and other researchers. And the question of the research, we would like to find what are the existing civilian protection strategies for increasing security among communities in the southern border provinces because of the geographic, the conflict area geographic in the south compound with 3 provinces and 4 districts in Songkhla province with more than 2 million populations, both Buddhist, Muslim, Sikh, and Hindu. And the second question, we would like to find how can communities in the southern provinces of Thailand design their own unarmed civilian protection program that we learn a lot from around the world, that in each context or in each environment cannot use the same method to solve the problems. And the last one we would like to know about, are there any practical techniques of unarmed civilian protections from around the world that can be used to guide community practice in the region, because of it has many ways that we learn from the UCP circle or pillars. We have 4 pillars that we would like to know what should be done in the conflict in the south. And for the output, outcome, and impact that we would like to get it after research finish. First thing, guidelines of unarmed civilian protection in the southern border provinces. Guidelines is not like one pattern, but we need to find more one pattern to match within each community. The second outcome is 3 communities that we research have developed a mechanism and practice to protect civilians without weapons that we have a workshop last week. And lastly, impact. I would like to the result in the shift in the conflict resolution process from armed to unarmed to protect civilian, how we can shift, because of we have a peace process right now, we have negotiation table, but nobody talking about non-violence way, nobody talking about the non-violence in the community. That's why we would like to promote and make the community know about how we can use unarmed civilian protection to support the peace process. And after we have, we learn from the country around the world, many countries are using UCP to preventing civilian and protecting civilians. First thing, we thank you for Nonviolent Peace Force who implemented UCP in around the world. The first country I would like to introduce, but maybe you know more than me, but we learned that the Mindanao using more about the monitoring, that they use early warning, early response system to monitoring the violence in the conflict area in the Mindanao, Bangsamoro, and then they're working a lot with international organization, international country to joining the monitoring ceasefire. And the second, like I said before, ceasefire monitoring. They work a lot with international level, many countries, to monitor and reduce violence or monitor what's happening in the conflict zone. But we found that the Mindanao have a challenge about practice or implement GCP. First is they need more relationship building with many organizations because of they have many organizations in local level, in regional level, and in international level. How they can have a relationship in each level in many tracks. And the second is the network building because of conflict is long conflict. How we can maintain the network building until now, and the budget everywhere need more budget to continue working on this. And the second country that we learned, like South Sudan, even though they have agreement about separating country already, but UCP mechanism that the South Sudan use is protective engagement or protective present. They use a lot about protective present to prevent civilian, to protect women, and they use like a relationship building because of South Sudan has many tribal, have many ethnic group, and it's like a big country. And the second, they use like protective present to protect specific women. When the women working, when women find food, find water, and they did lumber control because of the big country, the difference or diversity of the ethnic group and tribunal. And they use also EWER, same Mindanao. But the challenge is different from Mindanao because of the violence trends in South Sudan be higher and more brutal. That's why they cannot stay or base in South Sudan. And the second is the project is small when we compare with the country because the country is big. And then the people that would like UCP practitioner is not matched with the big country. And the next country that we learn from is Colombia. Colombia using UCP for so long, but we interesting about the proactive engagement with international level because of when international level come into the community that happen violence inside the community. They're using proactive engagement, talking and have a relationship with the paramilitary when they pass the checkpoint or blockade, and then they contact with the paramilitary, talking with them, dialogue with them, and then they can go into the communities. That is the good to have international level in the conflict zone. But the challenge is like sometimes we don't know what happened after present or international present in the community or in the conflict zone. That's why we know the way or the implementing that many countries using. And lastly, we learn from Myanmar. Myanmar after have a peace agreement that they invite the NP joining to monitoring and training a community to monitor the ceasefire agreement, and they create and establish the community peace observers and women training community knowing about how to monitor and using EWER. But the challenge is same South Sudan, like the violence trends to be higher and more brutal right now. And like in the South, when we compare with the violence in other countries and Thailand, and in the south of Thailand, we found that they have many types of violence due to the arrest, not only like a physical harm, but also structural harm. And the most thing that we found is the torture, searching, displacement. Some of Buddhist community displaced to other part of Thailand. Some Malayu Muslim displaced to Malaysia. This is the have a border together with Thai and Malaysia. And in 5 years since after COVID-19, the extrajudicial killing increased, and that make I think Farida will talking about why the violence increased in 5 years. Mostly violence happened in the Southeast shooting, bombing, arbitrary detention due to the special law that the government want to solve the problem by enforce the law. We have special law. One is martial law. Second is emergency decree, and third is Internal Security Act. Martial law can detain people without arrested warrants 7 days in the military camp. Emergency decree can detain 30 days in military camp and police camp without arrested warrant. And after the people released from the military camp, they were threatened by the military will patrol in the communities every day. Some of them re-arrested, and the activists or human rights defender was enforced the law, or we call SLAPP laws, that many journalists, many people, many human rights activists were charged with the law, Computer Crime Act, and defamation, and 116 116 is related with the security, that's national security, that is the physical harm happened in the South. And we found that since 2004 until now, have many research talking the root cause of the conflict in the South. We found that first is the historical struggle for the Patani territory, because of in 1909, the Siamese or Thai in the present signed the Anglo Treaty in 1909 with a British. And the second problem is the socio-economic grievances arising from poverty and lack of education due to the Thai policy in the past, since Prime Minister Pibul Songkram, he enforced to change the education in the South from Malayu language to Thai, and learning in the temple that against the Islamic ideology. And the third is the Malay Muslim marginalization in a majority Thai-speaking and Buddhist society, because of the difference from language, religions, and tradition separate the society. They cannot speak Thai, but the government officer using Thai language. And in the past, when the teacher teach the student cannot speak Malayu. If students speak Malayu, they will give 1 baht for teacher. I understand what the teacher, they want to make them know the Thai language, but for the Malayu Muslim, they think that this is the assimilation by the Thai state. And lastly, the past and current politics and policy that they're using more brutal laws enforced in the South. And I think I would like to give the floor to Farida to know more about the detail in the violence and the research resulting.
I would like to, talking about the period study of the recent number of the incident in southern Thailand from 2004 to present 2024. Right now we have the incident conflicts from 2004 to the present. The situations of the conflicts in our area by the physical means is decreasing. But actually we are still have some incident occurs every month. So it means that our area is still the protected conflict is still not yet finished on the physical violence incidents. This is the details, so many details that we have a previous study. You can see that we have a lot of collection of the type of the incidents, such as the shooting, assault, searching, attack, arson, threat, bombing, or the separate on the cause of the incident. Many of the cases causing by the separatism, also the crime also. From the numbers of the incidents, we try to identify the numbers of the three community violent situations. Number one is from Yala, Narathiwat, and Yaling. We can say that the Yala, Mueang Yala, the highest district that have the violent incidents. The second one is Narathiwat, and the third one is Pattani. There's many types of violence that we try to identify from three communities, looking deep down in the three communities, what kind of the violence happens. We have found that there's a lot of type of physical violence present in the three communities, such as the yes, we have non-violence disturbance, violence disturbance, attack, clash, assault, search and arrest also by military force, shooting and bombing and arson. From the graph you can see that the Yala province in Mueang Yala, there is the highest numbers of the incidents, and in our study we have mixed between the high number area and the very low numbers of the incidents also compared to each other. We also have the details on this, but I would like to skip this graph. We would like to say that all Buddhists and Muslims are the target from the conflict area, both injured and dead. The second study is about we try to study the opinion of the people on peace and conflict state in southern Thailand by our institutions and other university. From the respondent, around 1,300 respondents respond about the state of the conflict and peace. The first one is the measure that they would like to speed up to protect the civilians from the violence. This is the first recommendation from the people in the area. You can see 21% of the people would like to strengthen the capacity of community to protect their own. It means that people really care about their safety in the conflict area. So that's why our study is very important for this period. The area that we study, it is come from three community: Village 9 at Narathiwat, Village 4 Yala, and Village 2 at Pattani. We have the method to interview 69 informants from three villages, such as women group, youth, religious leader, and vulnerable group, and also the people who take caring about the security responsibility, such as village chief, village headman, Shorabo, or the village development and self-defense volunteers. And this is how we work in our project. So we have so many activity, and right now we are at the last stage of our research. The final still waiting for defection on the in-depth interview with the people that's responsible or can reflecting about how our findings are from the workshop that we try to find out what kind of the UCP mechanism that's suitable for 3 communities. This our activity for last years. We have a lot of activity on project introductions, the meeting with our consultant, Dr. Ronnie Delsey, and also we have the workshop with trees community. Okay, we would like to know how people think about the peace in their area or community. From 3 communities, they also see that in the community level, communities have the opinion that there's still negative peace in their community because there's still the military patrol and they're still feeling fear and distrust because of there's still the violent situation going around their areas. All 3 communities are thinking in the way that even they are decreasing of the situation, but there's still negative impact on their feeling because the presenting of the military control, the checkpoint, and in the overall picture for the Southern Thai conflict, there's still fear and distrust and misunderstanding some information. So what kind of selecting UCP mechanism that 3 communities want? The first one, they want to emphasize for capacity empowerment, monitoring and building relationship. The villager said that right now they still don't know about the peace process going on, how it's going on, what and who really relevant to the peace process. So they want to know a lot more about the state of the violence and conflict in our area. Also the other knowledge like human rights protection, negotiations, or women's rights, and they want to boost up the relationship between the people in community because some of the group they cannot working together in everyday life for a community to solving the conflict. So in terms of UCP, it's kind of bigger issue. So they want to building more good relationship with the leaders, with the people in community or community and communities, and with the other organization and also the government sector also. So may I skip because the information from the first workshop is really the same needs that's training on how to build relationship with the leaders and villagers and development groups and the other groups in community, and also they need more capacity empowerment in many skills. So this is our activity, and for the interviews, topics that we get from the in-depth, we have a lot of questions, and it's very detailed. We ask about what kind of violence in their community. So the villager said that even we have perceived that they are shooting and bombing and physical violence, and it's still decreasing, but villagers are still fear and suspect towards authority. The violent incidents still impact the villager feeling because up until present, there are so many cases of house surrounded by military without prior notification. Additionally, there is the violence associated with influential persons, such as shooting incident involving village heads or local leaders. And we asked about other form of the violence that they face in their community. They they respond to us that yes, we have a problem with the thieves and drug abuse problem in the area also. There's a case that they try to reflect that there have been many cases that male teachers from Tadika school were often targeted by security sectors, and the presence of the military in their area, in their village, in their rubber plantation. So they're still very concerned about their safety due to the presence of the military. And it is also observed that Thai Buddhists tend to leave the area for the safety reason, also from our observation. And we asked about the preceding warning sign before violent situation. The majority of villagers from all three communities reflect that they were uncertain or unaware of any event or warning sign because violence erupts. Before the violence erupts, those who work in the village, even they are the security guard, security defense volunteer, they didn't see any sign until the incident occurred. However, some villagers did receive certain signal before house surrounding operations. Villagers may notice the patrols of the military for a month or a week in their village before incident. Moreover, there are the sightings of the helicopter passing by, the drone, and the security camera installed in their community. And the social media, they getting a sign of the picture of the leaflet or spray paint from the group of the insurgent or unknown group on the road and the bridge. The early warnings of violent incidents, what kind of mechanism or the way they practice in community when the violence happened. As I said that the villagers are unsure about what kind of the situation happened after the explosion or after the violence. Normally villagers only protect themselves by staying calm, avoiding risky situations, observing abnormalities, and reporting to community leader. This is the normal practice that people in the village do. We asked about the impactful form of the violence in community also. They said that the drug problem is the predominant effect used, but the violence from the drug searched by security officials make them feel unsafe also. Moreover, youth also are seen as the most vulnerable group to be harmed or controlled due to the security situation. We asked about the place in the community that community villagers feel safe from violence. Most of villagers say that home is the safest place. If home isn't safe, they have to gather in place where there are large congregations such as mosques. Moreover, villagers believe that there are no safe area. For some group of the people, they believe that there are no safe area or safe space because even mosques like Tadika school are surrounded and searched. Some people feel afraid of official or individual in uniform also. How to ensure the community safety? Actually, the main measure belong to the villager development and self-defense volunteer and village leader for ensure safety, as I said before, especially during the night time when the target of the unrest are militaries and police. However, the villagers can use social media as the tools for the warning when violence or incident occurs. But the officials still have no good measure for people before the violence happen. They just advise people to stay indoor or home. Okay, I think this is the same information about the collaboration between state and civil society in prevent violence and human rights abuse. The villagers respond that there is still no collaboration between civil society and state in terms of peace and human rights protection. The involvement of state agency mainly revolve on the issue of development, education, and drug prevention. But the villagers suggest that it should be good and be beneficial if organization or agency provide knowledge on human rights and peace. Yes, that they say that they should strengthen on more on human rights and peace. The communications on human rights violation in the communities. They said that the villagers say that they agree that they should disseminate or publish the issue of the human rights violations because it makes the community know more or aware about the situation, the violent situation, or they can evaluate how violence will impact on their life after this. There's a more recommendation that I will like to highlight. Yes, villagers should involve with the village leaders on UCP mechanisms. And also they need to be trained on the human rights and the peace process and receive more accurate information to increase awareness and foster mutual understanding of their violence. This is our how to create the guideline. We try to learn the example from the Philippines that using the guideline in the communities on the topic of the reductions. And we involve the people to reflect on some indicator also. The people say that who should involve in the UCP. They say that there's a lot of people rather than the leaders, communities leaders. We should involve youth, local security force, sub-district administrations, Tadika teacher, villager who have been directly impacted from violent situation also. But there's still some limitation that there is still the problem with some leader. There's no skills on peace and violence and understand the conflict situation and also the skill of communicate with the villagers and how to reduce limitation. Yes, the villager needs more training, empowering community leader and building good relations with between leaders and villagers. And also this area should believe the special law and building new communication system rather than creating the lines group. So what kind of the new communication system or that benefits on the early warning system. and the future activity that they think that they can build in the futures. They would like to highlight and create more relationship building, especially youth group. They want to do some activity to have more relations with community, with leader, with the women group, or improve their communication channels on the social media, and on the capacity in empowerment. They want the leaders to engage actively before and after violent situation, and they need more effective conflict mediations also. This is our a picture that try to present that what kind of the pillar of community of the UCP that villagers should do. So the capacity development and relationship building, they should focus on this. So there are also some kind of the free speech that they have to talking about their needs or their discussions more on these issues with the government, with the peoples, with the other organizations, such as the right to the self-determination, the term of the Merdeka, or independence. So this UCP mechanism should open this space for the peoples in the conflict zone to talking about this sensitive issue also. So the Merdeka, independence, and the right to the self-determination. So it's bring you to the conclusion that the community believes that they can use UCP tool to create safety for community in Thailand, Southern Border Province. And the community prefer to begin with building relationship and building capacity at the prospect for ongoing UCP in the futures. And yes, the peace infrastructure is the first thing that we should establish in local community. So the UCP mechanism can use for more effective means. Yeah, yes. Okay. Thank you so much for our present.
Like the UCP will be in creating infrastructure of peace in the community to support the peace negotiation right now. Yeah. Thank you for your attention. If you have any questions, feel free to answer your question.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you so much, Farida and Chana. So interesting and filled of what you did and so many interesting things that you found out, and that you even looked at all of the other countries to inform that. So thank you so much for starting off our presentations this morning. So we're going to see if people have some questions. So we have some time for questions after that very interesting presentation. So on your tables there is a microphone, so that you can share and use that. And all you ask is to sort of like you maybe say who you are when you ask your question. And maybe I forget to do this also. My name is Rachel Julian. I'm a co-investigator with Berit on creating safer space and a professor of peace studies at Leeds Beckett University in the UK. So please let us know if you have questions. Yes, please. Yeah.
Can you hear me okay? All right. First of all, thank you for your presentation and the work that you've done. A question that I have, particularly given the identity, Oh, sorry. Martin Miller, that's kind of secondary to what you're discussing here, but thank you, Dr. Chetana. It's a pleasure to be here, and it was a pleasure to go through and hear about your outcomes of your research and the work that you're doing. And to Dr. Chantana and the team here, thank you for offering this as an opportunity to sit and think together and discuss. My question is what we see a lot in the region are how identities are used in conflict and politics. And the question from my side is, what role did the communities, when you were doing your research, or any of the groups that you were discussing with, talk about the role of religious and ethnic actors in their engagement and how to promote, address or engage in early warning and response, as well as promote peace elements in southern Thailand?
The loan too.
Okay, there's a couple more. If I take 2 or 3 questions.
Yeah.
Hello. Good morning. Assalamualaikum. I'm Fred Lubang with Nonviolence International Southeast Asia. Thank you, Farida and Anchana, for the presentation. At some point of the conversations, did you encounter or pose questions in terms of how do we, or when did we learn how to protect? Or on the other side, when did we learn how to fight? Kind of question. Because I'm really curious on the answers, because it depends really. When did we learn how to fight? No? I'm from the southern Philippines. I grew up, born there. When we have issues of problems, and if we learn it from our father, it's a different story. I'm learning from our mothers. One time, we had some fights. We ran at home. Most of our homes have guns. It's easily accessible. So learning how to fight was associated with so much weapon systems. And learning how to protect was also, again, linked to weapon systems. Our history itself, independence of the Philippines, or having an autonomous region for Muslim Mindanao, Bangsamoro, were fought and attached with weapon systems. Although there was a peace process, but again, how do you fight, and how do you protect are two questions that I'm so interested, because I really feel it's so associated with weapon systems and violence. And so thank you for sharing that, but I'm just really curious if that was more discussed and more asked. Thank you.
I would like to clarify your question. Do you want to know about the role of minority or ethnic group? That's right. Identity. The identity, mostly in the south, identity is Malayu, and the religious is Muslim. 80% of them are Malayu Muslim, and they have some of Chinese group and Buddhist, but in Thailand as a whole is Buddhist, Thai Buddhist. And the problem is, like I said about the root cause of the conflict, the difference between language, that they cannot communicate since 1909 until now. And the minority is the one that they are oppressed by law, and that they cannot have a place or safe space for speak out, for create a peace infrastructure. They my organization work in community. When I would like to talking with the headman leaders in the community to organize the workshop in the community, they said that they cannot allow me to do that because of the military don't want to do the military or the government officer not allow other NGO or not allow organization outside the community to do that. Only the military or government officer. That is the problem. And like a religious leader also have a two roles for the peace process. One is the what you call it? Spiritual for the community, and other part is like a support the government officer if they want to present or to distribute about the peace process, and they don't have like a independent mindset to talk with the community. And the second question, do you want to? For the weapon and security force, we can see many military established or set up the camp inside the village. And people feel fear and stay in the untrust with the military because of sometimes they patrol on the road, sometimes they sleep backside the house, and sometimes they getting a checkpoint, and then in the night time that make the youth and women feel fear when they pass the blockade because they don't have rider, they don't have the higher level to check when they set up the checkpoint in the village in the night time. And sometimes the mostly people have job about rubber plantation or rubber trapping, and they work in the night time in the plantation, but they feel fear because of they have many black military suit or uniform inside the rubber plantation, and then they cannot work, and then they cannot have a good job or good livelihood. They cannot work every day. That's it, the problems. Yeah. Sorry. Yeah. And the weapon, right now, when military patrol in the village, they mostly come into the Tadika school or primary school, Islamic curriculum, or we call Tadika, and the military with uniform and weapon come into the school every Saturday and Sunday, everywhere in the south, that make people feel fear and worry about the weapon that the military holding it. This is the environment right now, even though the violence reduced. Yeah.
Thank you. I think also Shantana, you had a question?
Yeah.
Is there any other question?
Thank you very much, Khun Anjana and Khun Farida, I think, for giving us the insight of how people think about protecting themselves and identifying the limitations. And you mentioned about one of the approaches, relationship building. I think you picked up from Women or something. And then you refer to youth group and now, the past couple of weeks, I've learned on the television that the Southern Border Center
Yeah, okay. The mic is not sensitive to my voice. They have developed a protection mechanism at the Tambon. Tambon is sub-district level. And they call it protection unit, something like ชุดป้องกัน ชุดป้องกันภัย. It seems to be equipped with weapon. Now, I think protection monopolized by the state, security sector. But when you said about relationship building, you haven't really talked about.
This one.
We have no luck with microphones.
So it's kind of contestation on protection, isn't it? And the monopoly of the protection by the state is coming, I don't know, expanding. Even though the people want, identify in the poll that they want, 70% wants a mechanism for protect themselves. What do you think of the relationship building, a crossover to this contestation?
Yes, I agree with Ajahn Chantana about many military or weapon group in terms of like established by the government officer. From the research, we talking with the security sector, like military and also and Chalabor, and that's the problem is the people in the south understanding that protection should organized by the people who have weapon only. They don't understand how people can protect themselves. That we research about unarmed civilian protection awareness and what we can bring unarmed civilian protection into the community to make them create a way that we found that relationship building when it's a good way because the community want to talk with the military, want to talk with the security sector, how to work together without weapon. The first thing, and the second, how community can create capacity building and using monitoring or early warning, early response with the security sector together without weapon. This is the result of the research that we found. Yeah.
I would like to add that actually in the community there are a mechanism that the leaders or religious leaders use their own approach rather than using weapons, such as when they have the conflicts or have any problems in the community, they kind of provide a space for the villager or for the people to come to talk their problems in their own house. Actually the villager headman house, and also the peace council also. This is a kind of mechanism that community can use, and also the justice center ศูนย์นิติธรรมใช่ไหม This is a kind of a state or government mechanism that bring people to come to solve the problem without using violence also. But actually I try to ask also is still the using weapons in their situation or not, and the village headman said that they still keep the weapon but not present to the public. They still have the weapons all the time, but they try to keep it out of the sight when they go to the community. The defenders volunteer. They also said that they rarely use the weapons, but there is still the presence of the gun of the camp in. There's many camp in the village also. There is small camp, but they have their protocol also. How when they should use the guns or to resolve the conflict, they have their own protocol. Have to report to the big military camps, and the military camp must order how the defenders or volunteer should practice in their situation or can use the weapon. I think there is existing mechanisms in their own way, but actually as we try to interview the people that what they feel on their village now. Is there peace or not? They said that feel scared or feel fear because a lot of the patrolling still present in their community. Lots of small camp still present in their community. And how to build the relationship between these two kind of group, the volunteer, the defense volunteers, or the youth group. There's no still we have
conflict between youth and hitman leaders.
Yes, there's still a lot of inside conflict also. We have to go step by step before creating space between the group that use the guns and the youth group and women group. Actually, we have I think what people want to have the dialogue space with their own villager headman. The group that work very close to them to understand, to make understanding, to make understanding, to have like a good relationship, not about the UCP in everyday life activity. There's still some conflict that occur in community between group or between the group of women or the youth and the group of the leader. So that's why the building relationship is the basic function for every community that we want to explore more. Yeah.
Because of the villager expect more the role of the headman leaders. They want the headman leader protect them from everything, from every violence, and support them. That's why but the headman leader also receive order from the government officer or military only. That's why they feel unsatisfied. Yeah.
Thank you very much. I've got one more. So thank you very much, and I think really interesting to share with us the number of challenges of doing UCP and implementing it, but also the challenges people face very much in their communities. So thank you very much. So you have finished. Thank you very much. But everybody else, you have one more job. I will say, you have one job. You need to have a think and reflect before we congratulate Wahid and Chana. What was surprising in what you heard? What was significant? What is a key idea that you might take away from this that you could write down on the post-it, and then we can collect over each of the presentations as we go through the next 2 days. So if you were able to take a minute of that before you go and have a break. But please let us thank first of all Wahid and Chana. Thank you.
Maybe it's the time for the break. And I would like to share you all the presentation. You can use this QR code and then you can scan it, then you will find it. And also for some speaker who did not send us the presentation, please kindly send to us. Thank you very much, and we see you at 11 o'clock. Yeah.